York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And another sultry good morning to you. I am Gary Sutton, and welcome to the Wednesday morning edition of the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK, where it is July the 30th, 2025. And out here on the Brooks Robinson Plaza at the Wellspan Park, where I was a couple minutes ago last night, it was 74 degrees at the moment.
I think Brooks is melting.
Brooks is over there. He's, his one hand is like wiping the sweat off his brow, I think. Yes. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But another sweltering day coming up today, so stay hydrated and stay safe. And if you're not real good in the sun, stay out of that. Take care of your pets. Make sure they're indoors. I got home last night from the game, and our one cat, who is kind of part outside cat part of the time, went to the door and wanted to go out. So I went over and opened the door. I said, "You want to go out?" And he looked around. And he felt, I think he put his paw out there and felt for the temperature and said, "Nah, it's okay. I'll stay in." So anyway, that was Tuxie. He decided.
Tux? I was going to say.
To stay in. Yeah, he was. Dad, it's all right. We'll stay here. The air conditioning's all right. And he comes in during the day. He's outside, and he'll hide. And he comes in, he's so warm. But he'll run inside the door. I open the door. Hey, Tux. Whoosh. He's in like that. So he hates the outside. But that is his, that's his big, shall we say, waste box out there. He goes out there to take care of all the various business things.
Mother Nature?
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Anyway, welcome to the show today. And there's a lot of things, a lot of stuff that's happening, and Mark's got some very interesting stuff today too for our bumper stuff today.
We're not doing any bumper music today. What we're going to do...
I'm going to have withdrawal, by the way.
There's going to be... Well, yeah. That's why I'm telling you now.
I know. Talk me down off the ledge before I get there.
Out of our breaks is going to be something special out of every break, other than the top of the hour where we have to do the show set. But out of every break, something special, whether it be history or usually history, but like the Rebs game last night, maybe just an incredible call by Daryl last night.
Oh my gosh,
so,
he was all.
You got to hear that.
But it was a great game last night. The Rebs had been on a 4-game losing streak, and they broke that last night. I will tell you that as far as the tees. But what a fantastic game it really was, and more of it tonight. More of it tonight. The only depressing thing last night was, and it's not really depressing to me at all, actually, when I think about it. At the end of the night, Daryl's saying, "Hey, okay, well tomorrow at 6, our show's on, and tomorrow night at 6:10 we'll be on." I thought, I'm going to be there for both those.
Really.
6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Okay. But it was fun. Looking forward to sharing that with you here this morning. Our question of the day, which is up on Facebook right now, Pennsylvania lawmakers are looking to introduce, and this is just a couple of them, one Democrat, one Republican, are looking to introduce legislation that would make schools across the Commonwealth phone-free. And according to the memo posted by Senator Devlin Robinson, who's a Republican from the 37th Legislative District, and Senator Vincent Hughes, who's a Democrat from the 7th District, and Senator Steve Santaserio, who's a Democrat from the 10th District, they're planning to introduce legislation that would prohibit the use of phones during the school day, and that's by students. So here's a question. Do we need to ban phones from students in school during the school day or not, in your opinion? And you can get into this morning at Gary Sutton Show on Facebook and check that out. You can also text us the answer to that at 833-478-4729. That's 833-478-4729. You can check out our podcast at the end of the day at WOYK on YouTube to hear our show again, or parts of the show that maybe you liked or maybe you missed. And also Just a Voice on Main Street. You can check that out on YouTube as well. That's my other podcast where I put up different interviews I have with people. And right now up on our Facebook page, I do have a thing about October. I keep saying October, November. How about August 7th, next Thursday, where we have Pack the Park night? There was an article out in today's paper about that, or actually the Sunday paper about that. Kevin Smith is in here a lot. And we'd love to have you get out here. You can go to kindnessworldwide.org, check out the top clock that they have, the countdown, and then you can hit a little tab that they have up there and get your tickets for that night. And I hope to see you out here at the stadium on that evening. That's next Thursday, August the 7th. So you got that going for you as well. Lots of guests today, but today is National Cheesesteak Day. Or not, no, let me try that again. It was wishful thinking.
Yeah.
National Cheesecake Day.
There we go.
Yes, National Cheesecake Day. And the other one that I saw, and you probably have some other ones there, Mark, National Father-in-Law Day. You know what? And I thought about it. You hear jokes about mother-in-laws all the time, mothers-in-law, like behind every successful man is a proud wife and a surprised mother-in-law. You know, that kind of thing. So you never hear, have you ever heard a father-in-law joke? I've never heard one.
Yeah, maybe you might be right.
And, you know, it's kind of like Mother's Day and Father's Day. Like Mother's Day, we go out of our way. Father's Day, we really don't care. But fathers-in-law, I mean, it's like nothing, crickets. You know, mothers-in-law, guess what? I mean, you can you can get jokes like that all the time. We have, 30 days to Labor Day weekend. Mark, what else do we have going on today?
Well, it's International Day of Friendship.
A friendship.
Yes. So maybe make a friend or keep a friend.
It's nice to call you friend.
Yes.
It is.
Paperback Book Day. When was the last time you read a paperback?
Wow. I'm actually in the process right now of no, I'm not. It's not a paperback. A book I'm reading right now is not a paper. No, the one I have right now is a paperback. I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Oh.
Phil Jackson's 11 Rings about his championships. And he's like into Zen Buddhism and all this kind of stuff. I'm reading that book. That's a paperback. So I am in the process.
Interestingly, I watched an old movie last night purely for the
journalistic.
Yes, the cinematic.
Marilyn Monroe was in it.
Cinematic. Yeah, it was a 7-year itch.
Yeah,
and
I read the stories. Yeah,
and Tom Ewell, Billy Wilder directed it, which was I had forgotten that. Tom Ewell is the husband whose family goes off to Maine for the summer or for a couple of weeks. And of course, the upstairs, there's a new tenant for a couple of weeks, and it's Marilyn Monroe, who's just at tip-top shape in every way, shape, and form of that. But Tom Ewell's job was he was a paperback publisher. He worked for they made 25-cent novels. They took old novels that had been out of print, and then they, like Dorian Gray.
Right.
And for 25 cents, you could have the book. And it came up a couple of times in the movie, but how about that? How's that for odd a coincidence? Paperback book. World Snorkeling Day. Have you ever been snorkeling?
You know, I have.
Me too.
But in a pool. I mean, I was.
It doesn't matter where.
Yeah, but I did just a little bit. Not that great with it. Yeah,
I went. I did snorkeling in Virgin Gorda.
Virgin Gorda.
Virgin Gorda, and it was beautiful, but once was enough.
Okay.
And it's you said National Cheesecake Day. I like my cheesecake a little gooey.
Okay.
But you don't get it that way much anymore.
I like mine creamy. Very
creamy. Same thing. Yes.
Is that the same thing? Okay.
Yeah. Not. I don't want to call it dry. It's not dry.
Yeah, I don't like it where it's like flaky or that just doesn't do it.
No,
not up in here.
National Cheesecake Day and National Chicken and Waffles Day.
Oh, you can never go wrong with that.
I don't know. It seems I don't like the chicken with the bones.
Well, no bones. But like boneless chicken. This one little diner I go to, they have chicken and waffles Benedict.
Ooh!
Oh my gosh! But it's too much. There's so much there. It's way too much. But it's so.
They have hollandaise and maple syrup.
They do. They have hollandaise. You can put the maple syrup on, but they have hollandaise, and then what they do is they mix a little hot sauce in, which is really, really good. Oh, it's a nice one. In fact, you have, it's a Linden Diner. You have one over in your neighborhood.
Oh, yes.
In Lancaster, and,
yes.
and we have one here in York out on Route 30, or as we like to call it, Laux Road. So, yeah.
It depends because...
It's very good.
Some, I want to say Amish or Pennsylvania Dutch.
Right.
Their chicken and waffles...
Different.
Yes, it's
different.
creamy chicken with maybe some vegetables, maybe not.
Yeah, forget that.
Just creamy chicken,
it's too
which
healthy.
is ladled over.
Yes. Too healthy.
And I do like that.
Well, it's good, but give me a good waffle, like a half a waffle, half a Belgian waffle. I'm you could just sit me in a corner somewhere and I'll be happy. I'm happy most of the time anyway. But
I was going to ask if you had your burger last night.
I skipped it last night. What I did have was a chicken cheesesteak last night.
They serve that here?
Well, they have a stand called Fat Boys here, which makes their own bread every day. Their own bread,
kidding.
and it's like the pizza kind of bread with
Yes.
the nice thick. And they make a chicken cheese, and that's all I ate yesterday. I forgot to eat yesterday, and so I ate this chicken cheesesteak last night. It took my time, savored it in true Mackenzian fashion, and it was good. It was really, really good.
But today, are you going to lunch at Yanni's?
I'm not going to be at Yanni's today because I'm going to be I'm going to be traversing the hills of Regents Glen for a little while today.
Is that a good idea?
Well,
heat advisory.
I did that yesterday.
Okay.
I came directly from there to the game last night. My pants were soaked. My shirt was soaked. Now, I had my shirt I wear for the game, which has on all the stuff identifying us as semi-professional announcers. And so I changed my shirt, but I didn't change my pants. I got home last night. I literally walked in the house. I would have walked in the shower with my clothes on. I just dropped them and I ran in the shower. It was 11 o'clock when I went to bed. And so it was, but today I'm playing at 10, which means I'll get done around 2, which means I'll have some time to go home and change and get a shower and get a dry clothes. And there's nothing worse than sitting in wet clothes for 3 or 4 hours.
Now,
doing a game.
Is the box enclosed or is it open
It's
air?
enclosed. Yeah. Well, we do have it. I mean, it's open out into the
So
stadium.
you don't have air conditioning?
We do.
you
We have
do?
a fan in there. Yes.
Oh, I see. Well, the fan's all right.
And Daryl was very thankful for that. So it's just one of those things. By the way, we have Michael Gear coming up today, president of the Pennsylvania Family Institute. We'll find out what's on his mind this morning. We've got Jeffrey Coleman at 7:05. How do we separate ridiculousness from seriousness in politics? That's a question we're going to ask him. We've also got today Tim Barker, the district attorney of York County, and we'll talk about points of law with him. John from Yanni's is scheduled to talk to us this morning. He's all over the place right now with Yanni's. And then we have our president commissioner of the York County Commissioners. She'll be with us at 8:35. And Steve Shetter on pests will be with us today as well. And what we're doing about pests and all of that right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where we take a break. We'll come back with more. And what do we have ahead here,
Well,
Mark?
you've got to hear the final call from last night's game.
Oh, yeah.
It's worth your wait.
Yeah, this is really, really good. And we'll have that for you when we come back. If you missed the game last night or you went to bed before it got done, it was a nail biter. We'll tell you all about it next. It is 6:17.
Another 3-2. Swing and a high drive to deep left field. This one is gone! Jeffrey Whaler! A walk-off two-run home run in the bottom of the ninth inning! The Revs have won it 7-5! He gets the handshake from Rick Forney, who just won his 200th game with the Revs. What a win in front of more than 4,000 here at Wellspan Park tonight.
And very few of them had left by that point. It was around 10 o'clock, and he unloaded. Jeffrey Whaler, he's done that a number of times. The guy is really good in big moments. He's the shortstop. But there were so many big moments in this game last night. For example, I think it was in the sixth or seventh inning, this guy, Michael Ochik, who the Revs just got not long ago. Yeah. Brand new guy who throws it fast. So here's what happened. It's tie game, 4-4, and this guy, Alexander, leads off with a triple in the corner, his second triple of the game, which is kind of unusual.
Wow.
And he races to third. So you got a guy on third, none out. This Michael Ochik guy strikes out the side after that with 96 and 97 mile an hour fastballs.
Wow.
And I'm telling you what, the heat was on. So, but Mason Martin, who's the best home run hitter, tied for the best home run hitter in the league, and it's just a rev wrecker. I mean, this guy has destroyed us in a number of games this year. Gets up, he's the last guy up, and is a great fastball hitter. Well, this guy rears back and throws this 96 and a 97 mile an hour fastball in the last two pitches, and Martin can't even see it. I mean, he swings and he's out, and this guy walks off the mound and just pumping. They said he's a real mild-mannered guy, but he walks off the mound and he is like just won the World Series, And so a lot of moments like that last night in the game. And I'll tell you what, and Lancaster's bullpen was extraordinary. I mean, they were really, really good. But they sent their best pitcher out last night, and the Revs greeted him with 5 straight hits.
Wow.
And got 3 runs at the bottom of the first. And what's interesting, Lancaster led for the 9th straight game this has happened. Now, the Revs have been down 1-0 going to their bottom half of the first. They scored on 2 balks, which is also weird. The guy was out at second. Well, Lancaster said that our starting pitcher, a guy named Cinnaball, balked. So he goes from second to third, and now it's in his head. And he balks again and brings home a run. That's how they scored their first run last night. So it was depressing. And you're thinking, oh, no, not again. And then they come back and get 3 runs at the bottom of the first. They lead 3-1. Lancaster comes back, gets 4 straight hits, and leads 4-3 at the end of, the top of the second. So it went like that. And then the Revs caught up with a home run later on. And then it just stayed that way for a while. And the 2 pitching staffs just locked down and got into a great match. So it happens again tonight.
How does a guy like Michael Ochik,
yeah.
Yeah, how does he end up with the Revs?
I don't know the story behind that. He's just relatively new, but he
must have been
there.
somewhere else.
I think he was in Cleveland. I think he was in Cleveland's organization, and they let him go. And Darryl said maybe he's mad about getting let go. But this guy had the average fastball in the major leagues is 94. This guy throws it at 96, 97. He maybe could have, if he'd thrown another pitch, it might have been 98. I mean, but 97 was his top, and that was as fast as anybody threw last night. But there were a number of guys who came in who were just really, really good. And it was a great game to watch. But that ending, it was 3-2, and you got this guy Fontana at third for the Revs. He had slipped trying to steal second. And then there was he went to steal second. They threw the ball into second. It went by the second baseman into center field. So Fontana takes off for third, but he stops halfway, like a deer in the headlight. Like someone hit him and a deer, you know how you see a deer stop, and the center fielder's got the ball in his hand. So now he's got him dead to right. So do I return to second or do I go to third? Well, he races to third and makes the guy have to make a throw, and the third baseman can't come up with it. So now he's on third with 2 down, and that's when Whaler came to the plate with that call. Can we do it one more time?
Wow.
Are you able to do
hear
that?
it? Yeah.
I just want. So Fontana's on third. All you need is a base hit for Whaler. Whaler there must have been about 12 pitches thrown. Here he goes.
Swing and a high drive to deep left field. This one is gone. Jeffrey Whaler, a walk-off The Revs have won it 7-5. He gets the handshake from Rick Forney, who just won his 200th game with the Revs. What a win in front of more than 4,000 here at Wellspan Park tonight.
Yeah, you could hear the crowd cheering. That was great.
At 4,000 on a Tuesday night is unheard of, and it was packed. And boy, were people at the stands getting drinks last night. It was just trying to stay hydrated, for heaven's sakes. But it was a fun night, and I hope you'll come out tonight. Revs are at home again tonight. Second game of the series. The Revs are now only 2 behind Lancaster, and trying to drill in on them again tonight. So we're looking forward to that one. And the airtime will be 6:10. First pitch will be at 6:30. Daryl and I will have the call on that tonight. Come on out, and if you're walking by the front of our press booth there, please stop by and say hello. We always love to see people. A powerful magnitude 8.8 earthquake off Russia's far eastern Kamchatka Peninsula triggered tsunami waves of up to 5 meters, that's 16 feet high, nearby, and sparked evacuation orders as far away as Hawaii and across the Pacific on Wednesday. And the shallow earthquake damaged buildings, injured several people in the remote Russian region, while much of Japan's eastern seaboard, devastated by a 9.0 magnitude earthquake and tsunami in 2011, was ordered to evacuate. A resident in the city of, and I won't even try to tell you the name, Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, said the shaking went on for several minutes. And, of course, this idea of tsunamis, I mean, if you've ever seen tsunamis, what was that place a few years ago in Southeast Asia where it was so bad?
Oh, yeah.
And it was a resorts place. But,
yes.
The tsunamis are really a concern. And so in Hawaii right now, they're watching for that as well.
You said Kamchatka.
Kamchatka.
You know how the only reason that I know that?
It's from a game.
It's from Risk.
That game, yeah.
It's from Risk.
I just was thinking the same thing. I say, I only know that place. It's Kamchatka.
Yes, they were like regions on a big map, and you had the little blocks of wood, colored blocks of wood.
My brother was obnoxious playing that game, as well as every other one. But
really?
Yeah, Monopoly. He knew every space. He knew exactly where you were going. He was connecting rent on him. He was
now. But which one of you threw over the table? Was it both of you?
That was before. That was my pre-throwing days.
I see.
As I got older, most people get more mature about games. I didn't. I went the other way, and So,
my brother David.
Games. Yeah,
my brother David was the board thrower.
Yeah.
So
Pictionary. That was the one that
We used to play Stratomatic and Risk and Stratego.
Oh yeah.
And some of those early games were a lot of fun.
Yeah, so there you go. So anyway, we'll keep our eye on that earthquake and the tsunami possibilities from that.
I think they called off some of the
one
warnings.
in Hawaii. They backed down. Yeah. Ghislaine Maxwell they're asking her to come before Congress to testify, but she is requesting immunity in exchange for testimony, and that was denied by Congress so far. So there you have. So she's a longtime partner of deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, who's currently serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking and has been in talks with the Trump administration and Congress about dishing on the disgraced financier and his relationships. So House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer announced last week that Maxwell is set to testify before the panel on August 11th at the Tallahassee facility where she is serving her prison sentence. Now, I don't know if this will change that. We will wait and see, but he issued her a subpoena for her testimony one day after lawmakers voted to have her reveal more about her case and the crimes committed by Epstein. And, of course, the Congress is asking for all records regarding that case to be released by the Trump administration, the ones that they have. So, again, that story continues to fester and hang out there as well. And Jay Powell, looks like they're having 3 days of meetings right now with the Fed Reserve, and it appears that they're going to let the interest rates stay the same. They're not going to cut those. So that will certainly bring a rise from the president as well, I'm sure. So all of those, just some main national stories that are happening here this morning.
A Trump tsunami warning has been issued.
A Trump tsunami warning has been issued, right, okay. 6:35 this morning, we're going to have Michael Gear, president of the Pennsylvania Family Institute, in here with us all straight ahead on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK at 6:30.
Emergency. Batman speaking. Warning all of you to brace yourselves for big news.
The biggest.
Tell them, Robin.
Holy superlatives, Batman. It's really exciting. Soon, very soon, Batman and I will be catapulting right out of your TV sets and onto your theater screens.
That's right, Robin. Our first full-length motion picture feature in color opens a whole new world of thrills. The big screen gives us
It
more
was
space
on
on
this
land,
date,
sea, and in the
1966. I actually remember standing in line, waiting to see the one true Batman, Adam West.
Adam West, who could overact with the very best of them, and you had Frank Gorshin as the Riddler.
The Riddler, excuse me.
Yeah,
yes.
the Riddler. You had
Cesar Romero.
Cesar Romero was the Joker.
Yes,
and then you had who was the little guy who played the Penguin? He was.
It was Burgess Meredith
from Rocky. Yeah,
yes,
yeah. He was the Penguin, and you had Julie Newmar as the original Catwoman, who was right. You got it right. So
I don't remember much about it other than there was that's Lee Merriweather actually.
Lee Merriweather was in there too.
Yes,
who was a former Miss USA, I believe, and she was gorgeous. So I mean, they had, and I forget, what was it? Burt something was Robin,
Burt
right?
Ward.
Burt Ward. Yeah. So there you go.
See, the two of us would make a great trivia team.
We would. We could dominate. But there you have it. Anyway, Batman, and that was like a weekly phenomenon there for a while. It was the coolest thing around. Even though it was corny, and you'd play it today, and people go, "Really?"
Yes, that was as a matter of fact, it was so hot that they had it on I don't know if it ever made 3 times a week.
It was twice a week, yeah.
Yes, so that was, you don't see that.
And they did it in the cartoonish way. When he'd hit somebody, it would be pow, bow, like you'd see in a magazine, like a cartoon. Well, they did that on TV, and it worked for a little bit.
It did.
And Adam West was just...
He was so campy.
Bad. Oh, he was campy. He was really campy. But anyway, good memories. Good memories there for a lot of you probably, maybe, if you watch Batman
me
back
anyway,
then.
yeah.
And after all, it is all about us. So that was it. Anyway, with that, we turn this morning to Michael Gear, president of the Pennsylvania Family Institute. Good morning, Michael. How are you? Do you remember Batman, Michael?
I sure do. I remember that. I remember Risk. So I thought the same thing with Kamchatka.
Right.
Yes, like taking me back to my childhood. You know, some of those other regions like Irkutsk, I think was one of the things on the Risk map.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, he's trumped us and then some. But, no, good stuff. I played Risk with my brother, and I hated it because I always lost. So, but I did memorize all the stupid names of places that I'd never been to or heard of, and maybe that spurred on my love of history and geography and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, great to have you on this morning. How are you doing?
Thanks. I'm doing well. Yeah, it's good to be back on the program. I was away last week for our Pennsylvania Family Institute's 25th Annual City on the Hill Youth Leadership Conference.
How did that go? That's one of the most wonderful programs anywhere. And tell people just who haven't heard it before, and I knew you talked about it, but what that's all about, because it really is a great thing for kids.
Yes, we call it the City on the Hill Youth Leadership and Worldview Conference, and basically we invite high school students from across Pennsylvania. Actually, we had 3 from out of state, 2 from Maryland, 1 from the state of Indiana join us as well, because word is getting out about how the impact of City on the Hill. So we have some great teachers that teach about some of the current issues that are facing young people today. We had a gentleman named Scott Klusendorf who speaks internationally on the issue of the sanctity of life, and from a philosophical position of why every innocent human life should be protected. Then we had a woman named Katie Faust who formed an organization called Them Before Us, which talks about putting the needs and the well-being of children above the desires of adults. When you look at a lot of what's happening in our society today, it's because we're catering to the desires of adults, putting children up for sale and surrogacy and those sorts of things. And so she was great. And then what's really amazing about City on the Hill, we use kind of the political process, legislative process. The students are sworn in as mock senators at the beginning of the week. They then, as part of their work, they do public speaking and things through the week, and then they serve as senators, actually culminating at the end of the week with a debate through the whole day on the Senate floor at our beautiful Capitol building. So it's a life-changing conference. We had, as I mentioned, 80 kids. Many of them show up at the beginning of the week saying, "My mom or dad made me come here." By the middle of the week, they're saying, "I wish this was 2 weeks long." And by the end, they're saying, "I'll be back next year. I love this, best experience of my life." So we love doing City on the Hill. It's kind of grueling for the team and the staff. We're up from dawn to midnight, typically every night, but it's a great experience.
Maybe we could have used them to solve the budget last week if they could have stepped in for the senators who were there. I don't know, but no, it's great. I had a chance to be on a panel there one year, and I loved it.
I remember that.
Meeting those kids and just great young people. I mean, and really motivated. And we were on, I think, around the middle of the week, so it was about the changeover time when kids are saying, "Oh my gosh, I'd like to stay here for a few more weeks." But yeah,
exactly.
The camp stories never change. It always kind of works out that way. Mom, Dad, don't leave. And then about halfway through the week, and then they don't want to come home. So it's what happens. It's interesting you mentioned a couple of those things because Pennsylvania lawmakers are looking to introduce legislation that would make schools across the Commonwealth phone-free during the school day. And that's our question. It's up this morning. Do we think that's a good idea? But that's one of the things. And then, I'm also reading stories about too much porn right now and the mental state that it's putting kids in when they're allowed to access that kind of stuff. What are some of the common sense things that we could be doing right here? Do you think, for example, that maybe taking phones or collecting phones at the beginning of the day is a good thing, give them back to them when the day's over? But, the idea that there are times you can do things without your phone, for heaven's sakes, and that's important.
Let me just ask you this. When you were in school, did you have your phone with you?
I didn't have a phone then.
Right, because they didn't have cell phones, and somehow we managed to survive. I think you survived. I survived. It's interesting. At City on the Hill, we actually, at the beginning of the week, when the students register, we tell them they're not to bring their phones, but then we ask them when they arrive, make sure you've turned in your phone if you don't have it here. And then as we address them and talk about some of the rules and guidelines for the week, we say, to your surprise, you will not die by not having your cell phone with you for the week. And many of the reflections that we hear back from the kids by the end is how happy they were, how beneficial it was for them to be able to actually talk to people face to face and build friendships and all of those kinds of things, rather than, you've seen it, and we see adults doing this too, sitting in a restaurant and they all have their phones whipped out and they're just not even communicating with each other at all. They're in this alternative universe. And just the negative impacts that happen with cell phones, whether it's addiction to online gambling or pornography, or just being influenced by the Chinese through things like TikTok that are sort of warping the minds of children, or the mental health crises that we're facing, all can be tied in many respects to social media, and especially the amount of time that people have on screens and especially on their phones. So we're supportive of pushing against that sort of juggernaut of society.
I was looking at a study finds this morning, and they said there was a study that tracked over 100,000 people aged 18 to 24 to examine the effects of childhood smartphone ownership on adult mental health. Those who got smartphones before age 13 showed much higher rates of suicidal thoughts, aggression, and emotional struggles. Girls were especially affected, with 48% of those who got phones at age 5 to 6 reporting suicidal thoughts compared to 28% at age 13. And researchers urge policy changes recommending age restrictions and mandatory digital literacy training to protect developing minds. So the idea that, they're just kids, they're getting phones, the idea of developing minds, I thought those are the two biggest words, that whole thing that I was looking at, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. The brains are not fully formed even till about age 25, but it's especially at those adolescent years and things, and in the early teens, that have the biggest impact. And when you have the outside influence, and especially nefarious outside influences, whether, again, it's porn or some of the other messaging that's coming across the screens, can really cause those mental health issues. And everybody knows we're in a mental health crisis. Let's look at what are some of the causes. You just talked about the impact of screen time, et cetera. We need to do something about it. We got an email into our office, not from somebody who's on our list, but somebody, I guess, who sees us pushing for these protections for young people on cell phones and things in terms of age restrictions for porn and age verification. And they're saying, hey, look at Europe and all these other places that have imposed guidelines not on cell phones, but on social media, et cetera. And, we don't want to go in that direction. And, yeah, you can go too far. But in terms of protecting young people specifically, we think that there are sensible guidelines and restrictions that can be put into place to protect those young minds.
I was reading an interesting article that you had up at pafamily.org, and it said Louisiana and now 24 other states passed a simple law requiring pornographic websites to verify that anyone attempting to gain access to explicit content is over the age of 18 using a form of ID similar to what is required to purchase alcohol, cigarettes, and yes, porn in person. These laws, known as age verification laws, require the use of tested and accurate digital age verification methods that are already in use for activities such as online gambling. So, if we're doing the age verification in all these other areas, why wouldn't we be doing it here as well?
We absolutely should be doing it, and we're working with lawmakers in the Pennsylvania legislature, including Democrats and Republicans. One notable is Senator Chris Dush, who's pushing for this. When we say we card people for alcohol, we ask them to show their ID when they want to buy cigarettes. Same sort of thing. The push for, which we oppose, but the push for legalized marijuana in Pennsylvania, saying, well, we're going to keep it out of the hands of people under 21 or under 18 or whatever. They say we're going to have all these age restrictions and protect, but then porn is ubiquitous. It can be accessed on your cell phone. It's all over the place, with all of the different sites. In 2023, the porn industry surpassed the NCAA. We talk about all of the college sports and all of those things. Porn industry makes more money than all of college athletics in the United States. It's a massive industry. They're fighting really hard. They have their lobbyists pushing against this age verification, and that's why people need to use their voice and say, let's protect children at the very least. We think more people should be protected from porn because it's corrosive to marriages, causes lots of divorce, causes all sorts of different health effects, that there's reasons to oppose it, but especially let's protect children.
If people want to read the article on that, then go to pafamily.org. It's a great article. The first one in there, in fact, and it's time for PA to protect children from pornography. Michael, congratulations again on another successful City on the Hill and giving kids a chance to really work on some things that will help them to be better citizens. It's like a great civics course for a week there and interlaced with a lot of really good things. Thank you again for providing that for some of the great kids here in Pennsylvania and elsewhere now.
Thank you, Gary. Well, it's a pleasure for us to do it, and we've been doing it for 25 years,
yes.
And this year was great.
Way to go. Thank you so much, Michael. Appreciate you sharing that with us this morning and some of the other ideas here. And we'll keep on working. Michael Gear, president of the Pennsylvania Family Institute. You can find him at pafamily.org. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more. Mark, what do we have straight ahead?
Another non-music out.
Oh, my.
For this one. And we're going to do birthdays, I think, here.
Birthdays coming up, okay. And Happy Gilmore, too.
What?
That's in the news. We'll tell you why when we come back here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
In a secret lab, somewhere in the Western Hemisphere, the perfect human specimen has been born. He has the strength of 10 men and the wisdom of 20. He also has a twin brother.
I have a brother?
Oh my goodness, are you looking good?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Born to be bad.
And Danny DeVito.
Way to go, Mom.
Are twins.
My name is Julius. I'm your twin brother.
Obviously. The moment I sat down, I thought I was looking into a mirror.
Only their mother can tell them apart. Twins, the new comedy from Ivan Reitman.
Julius.
What?
Are you allergic to something? You're all swelled up. You look like you're ready to explode. I love it when you hit people. Who are you?
Vincent's brother. We're twins. That's right.
Twins, coming this Christmas.
Here you go, Mark. Look over here. Remember? We were just watching the video. They both have these sunglasses on. I just put some sunglasses on for Mark this morning.
Yes.
Anyway, we might be twins. You know,
Well,
when Danny DeVito says to Arnold Schwarzenegger, "Sure, I could see the resemblance right away," and Danny DeVito is like about 3 feet tall, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is this monster.
Here's the thing. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger's birthday. He's 78 years old today. And I could have gone, a number of different ways. I'll be back, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But I thought, you know what? Twins was a big hit. And he had some comic ability. So, and it was well written, and Ivan Reitman, you can't go wrong. So,
another one he was good in, it was kind of along that line, was Kindergarten Cop.
Yes.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I do.
do.
And these kids, and there's a serious one where he's, beating the bad guy, but on the other side, he's dealing with these kids, and he has to figure out a way to keep them under control because they all are just raising Cain when he's in the room, and he portrays himself as a substitute teacher, and it's,
Some other birthdays today. Paul Anka.
Did I see 84?
Yes, 84 years old.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne. He's the guy that isn't Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
Lawrence Fishburne, 64. Lisa Kudrow from Friends, 62. And one of the best film directors going these days, Christopher Nolan,
Yes.
55.
Well,
Everybody's waiting for his new movie to come out.
You talking about movies, you went to see Happy Gilmore 2 the other day, and you gave us your appraisal of that, and said it was.
I'm still trying to recover.
You said you felt you were getting dumber as you watched the movie. Well, so Daryl says to me last night in the booth, he says, "Did you see Happy Gilmore 2 yet?" I said, "No," because it's on Netflix. It comes out right away on Netflix.
Yes, it's essentially, if you're a subscriber, it's sort of free.
You get it free.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I said no. He said, "Why?" I said, "Because Mark told me it's really stupid, and I don't want to get dumber. I'm already down there as it is." So he started laughing. He said, "You sure you're not going to watch?" I said, "I'm sure." So today I get up and I'm reading this story. Happy Gilmore 2 just set. And if you wonder why the country is the way it is, just set new record for Netflix. It had the biggest U.S. opening weekend ever for a Netflix original movie. It got 46.7 million views over 3 days. Shame on you. If you're wondering how it's being received by fans, it currently has a 70% rating at RottenTomatoes.com and 61% with critics. Its success also boosted numbers for the original Happy Gilmore, which made it to number 3 on Netflix global top 10 list with 11.4 million views.
61% even among critics.
I know. Among critics.
Wow.
They got dumber. So there you go.
That's crazy. At least it's not. See, when you say 71 or in the 70s for fans, I mean, at least it's not 80 or 90%.
Right.
I mean, there's some hope.
Well, in local news, I saw a couple really good stories this morning. 2 York County 911 dispatchers, this was in the York Daily Record today, helped to save lives. They said calls are very scary sometimes, but 2 York County 911 call takers recently helped to save the lives of 2 individuals, and one of them had to instruct the spouse on how to perform reverse cardiopulmonary resuscitation, which is an uncommon procedure. And this one caller for 911 helped her in June, Marissa Shoemaker, who communicates with callers while dispatchers send first responders to the scene, received an emergency call from a wife whose partner had collapsed in a tight space in a bathroom. The public safety telecommunicator advised the woman to try to move her husband onto his back or away from the area so she could perform CPR. I can't do this. I can't get him to move, the woman kept saying. Shoemaker tried to reassure the woman, telling her that she was doing a good job and that help was on the way while continuing to give instructions. We need to move him. We need to help him. We need to do CPR. In the end, the wife was unable to move her husband onto his back. That's when Shoemaker pushed a protocol button on the computer that she had never used before. It provided instructions on how to perform CPR through the back. And it's kind of like doing it on the chest, she said. It's very similar. It's just on the back. And the American Red Cross said in a statement that prone CPR is uncommon and it's not routinely taught in the organization's courses because it's so rare. But this girl looked at it and then talked this lady through doing it while her husband was on his stomach. And so Miss Shoemaker was a hero. Wow. It really was. And first responders arrived and remained on the scene for about 30 minutes. Shoemaker continued to watch the emergency response in the system. She said it was a relief knowing he made it to the hospital. After I saw, like, en route to the hospital, it was kind of like a big sigh of relief. So when you wonder about what these 911 people are doing, right here is a great example of just how good they can be in those kind of situations. And she certainly, stood tall in that moment.
No doubt about it. One of the things that you and I both like to do, and that is to save money. So let's...
One of us likes to do it a lot more than the other.
Well, that's true.
You're very good at it. I'm not. My wife is good at saving money and getting me to help do that when I have to.
Let's save some cash.
Okay.
Saving you money, I'm Hillary Barsky. Canceled or delayed flights can cost travelers a lot of dough, and getting an airline to pay you back for expenses isn't impossible, but it involves a lot of work. Airline passengers have very few rights, according to Paul Hudson, president of Flyers Rights. Customers are entitled to a refund if a flight is canceled for any reason or significantly delayed, and they opt not to travel, according to the Transportation Department. This policy extends to non-refundable tickets, but the DOT makes that determination on a case-by-case basis. While airlines are required to provide refunds in these circumstances if requested, they aren't barred from offering other ways to correct the situation, and often offer a passenger the opportunity to rebook on another flight or a voucher or credit for future travel. In these situations, customers will need to speak with an airline representative and ask for an involuntary refund, and not all customer service reps will be familiar with this term. But Hudson says it could be magic words for a quick refund. Saving you money, Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
And when we come back at 7:05 this morning, Jeffrey Coleman, principal at Churchill Strategies, also co-host of Morning Light, will join us. How do we separate ridiculousness from reasonableness in our political discussions in this country? I want to know the answer to that. Jeffrey always has a good look inside on those kinds of things, and he will tell us all about it when he joins us here this morning. We also will tell you a little bit about Medicare in the next hour, too, and some questions you might have and some answers and places where you can get them, all here on The Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 7 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back? Back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to hour number 2 of the Gary Sutton Show here on a Wednesday. It is July the 30th, 2025. 74 degrees out here on Brooks Robinson Plaza next to Wellspan Park. Well, the Revs will be playing Lancaster again tonight. That airtime 6:10. Daryl and I will be on. And 6:30, first pitch. Last night is going to be tough to beat tonight. I mean, it was a walk-off home run last night for the Revs to win and break a 4-game losing streak and move within 2 of Lancaster for first place. So, but we'd love to have you out here. We had 4,000 plus here last night, and we're looking to beat that again tonight. So, great night at the ballpark. Looking forward to it again. The second of 3 in the series with Lancaster in the War of the Roses. This hour, a sponsor, well, actually the whole show, our presenting sponsor is Parley Snyder Attorneys at Law, and they are a strategically focused law firm representing businesses and organizations and individuals in all major areas of civil law. With offices throughout Pennsylvania and Maryland, the firm's more than 130 attorneys provide innovative and effective representation to a wide range of clients in 29 different areas. So if you have one of those 29 different problems, okay, you can call them right here in York at 717-846-8888. You can go to barley.com, and they're open here in York. They're right at 100 East Market Street, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. They are, in my opinion, the gold standard for law representation right here in the area and around Pennsylvania and in Maryland. Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. This hour is being sponsored by Your Medicare Solutions. That's right. Becky and Keith Rill are, I tell you what, you talk about people who are educating people about Medicare. They've got a lot of clients, but they're really interested in making sure people know what the options are for Medicare, what's available to them, all those different kinds of things that come up that a lot of us don't know about, frankly. I mean, and we want to know about it, but a man's got to know his limitations. Mine are limitless. Okay. So I like people who can explain what Medicare is, how it works, personal options, because I want to have peace of mind at the end of the day. Now you can go to your-medicare-solutions.net and see what Keith and Becky have for you. They have the best plans that are available. They got simple enrollment. They'll show you how to do it. And all you need to do is schedule a consult with Becky or with Keith. They're your local Medicare specialists, and they're really, really good. And they'll help you find the best Medicare health insurance plan that meets your needs. So you can give them a call today at 717-487-4382. 717-487-4382. Doesn't matter what the question is, they will try to find the answer for you. You can email them at RILL, R-I-L-L, at your-medicare-solutions.net. That's RILL, R-I-L-L, at your-medicare-solutions.net. And they are the proud sponsors of this hour right here on the Gary Sutton Show. We welcome in this morning Jeff Coleman, who is the principal at Churchill Strategies, but he's also the morning co-host on Morning Light. Good morning, Jeff. How are you today?
Good morning, Gary. Doing well, thank you.
Well, it's great to have you in this morning, and I thought I'd start you off with an easy one today.
Really now?
Yeah, you know better. You can hear the trepidation in Jeff's voice already. But I would dare say, and it continues to get worse, not better. We have some of the most ridiculous things said by people on the public stage in this country that we don't know if they're lies, we don't know if they're glittering generalities, we don't know if they're truth. And I had this thought. How do we, and you're a guy who's a linguist, you're a guy who thinks and listens carefully, how do we separate ridiculousness from reasonableness in our daily discussion here in the country? How's that for an easy one to get started this morning?
Wow. Well, look, I mean, in some part, what the old proverb says, out of the heart, the mouth speaks. So what's inside is going to come out no matter what. And there is really no way you can train yourself and discipline yourself to say only certain things in certain environments. You can condition yourself so that you are afraid of consequences in the workplace, when you are in environments where it's not appropriate to say certain things. But then you're at a traffic light, and then you see the guy next to you, and he's not driving the right way or has the wrong bumper sticker, and something happens in a split second where you're transformed from that patient, measured, deliberate, kind person, and then boom, you lob one, maybe to yourself, maybe nobody's listening, or maybe you're on social media, and you just say, you know what, I can't take it anymore, and I have to say it. And I think this is where where the pressure of life right now is so intense for everyone, that if you don't have some way to govern yourself, you don't have a value system where you are relying on something external to help control, or a solid spouse, or children who say, Dad, you can't say that, Uncle, you can't say that. I don't see it getting any better, because the human condition is what it is.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. That and the thing, the only thing that makes it better, I think, and this is not foolproof, as you get older, and supposedly you get a little bit wiser, because experience makes us wiser, supposedly. But I have found myself, and Mark and I talk about this all the time, I used to charge up every hill that was in front of me. Every situation that came up, I'd be Teddy Roosevelt with the flag and the horse charging up the hill, waving.
Right.
And I was ready to take it all on, and I don't know how many losses got inflicted doing that. But now I look at the hills and I say, that's pretty tall. And it really doesn't have any consequence. It really doesn't matter what I think. I'm going to make a situation worse by going over there. I think I'll just go around there and go on to something else that's more important and deal with that. So I find that to be true. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think age has two sides to it. Age, one, can make you, as you have become, wiser, more seasoned, less prone to pop off. And then the other thing it does, which unfortunately you see this, I think, in nursing homes and places, memory-assisted units, where if dementia or the ravages of age take over, what happens, it feels like the gates are now lifted. There's no more lock on it. So especially when you're growing older, it's kind of what you have put in over the course of your life, what you have watched on social media, on TV, all the late nights. That's eventually going to be what comes out in the end when you don't have any reason not to say it, and when your cognitive shift begins to happen. And that's not a place that you want to be. You want to prepare for days, for later days in a different way.
I was looking at another story this morning that's really sad. The Gaza death toll hit 60,000 amid mass starvation. We're seeing pictures now of people dying of starvation. You have the UK is going to recognize the Palestinian state, as Netanyahu considers annexing parts of Gaza now. So you've got the political side of that going on. You've got the human side of that in front of us. As you watch that whole thing unraveling, what kind of hits you?
Well, President Trump said those photos are real. He began, and he used the words 2 days ago, there's real starvation there. And he saw the images. We see the images. Unfortunately, the response from the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, and the Israeli government has been consistent. Those are fake. They chase down images, and they say, well, that person isn't dying of malnutrition. And there's a tone deafness, I think, on one hand. The other thing is, the Netanyahu government, of course, is the coalition has fallen apart. He has a handful of months now before he has to call elections. So there's pressure from more conservative elements, from people who are more Orthodox Jews. The prime minister himself is kind of an agnostic when it comes to faith, when it comes to his worldview. So he is there, it seems, to stay in power. The real concern, though, right now is immediate. And there's an organization, the Gaza Relief Fund, the GRF, which was actually created at the tail end of the Biden administration, that now is being run by a good guy, Johnny Moore. They're setting up, as the president talked about, these sites, 5 of them, distribution sites for food. Gary, it is so complex that they have to drill underneath the sites to make sure there's no tunnels, no bombs.
Wow.
They have to make that site entirely secure. The difference, then, I'll just end with this. The difference is instead of just dropping food on people and the truck showing up from the UN and people just running as you're seeing these scenes with their pans to get the food, the Gaza Relief Fund is preparing nutritionally balanced boxes so they get at least a week of food for that entire period. And hopefully this begins to stave off the chaos. But the first thing the Israeli government has to do is make some admission that there is a problem here, and that is something they have not yet decided to do.
Final topic this morning. Ghislaine Maxwell wants immunity before she'll testify to Congress. She's scheduled, I think, to testify August 11th before a committee. But she's saying now, I want some kind of immunity. I don't want to open myself up to new charges and so forth, and ask for immunity from James Comer before she testifies on August 11th. She's not getting that right now. So where does this whole thing stand? People, this is the story that will not go away for the Trump administration. And I guess the easiest thing would be to just turn everything over, but that doesn't seem to be forthcoming. And that's really what kind of started this whole thing when President Trump said during his election campaign, we'll turn over everything on this. And now that's not happening. Your thoughts on that?
Well, just as we talked about at the beginning with speech, when it comes to files and photos and recordings and images and interviews, nobody will ever know what is not on the tapes or what is on the tapes because there won't be a full comprehensive record ever. But the idea that this woman or any of the other actors in this sordid pageant are going to be able to get away with something because they were granted immunity by a prosecutor. There is ultimate justice for everyone involved, especially when it comes to harming children, minors. And I think that the best position for the president and others in this to be would be, and I get that there may be some criminal liabilities here, but it's just to come clean. Admit that you're not the same person you were when you were flying around on Epstein's plane and doing this. Don't say, well, I didn't go to this place, but I did go to this place, and there were girls there, but they were all overage, but they weren't underage. Look, people are fallible. They make mistakes. The only safe place, I think, for all the people involved is to say, I beg your mercy on this. I need forgiveness, and I'm going to try to make it right as long as I have breath to the people that I've hurt.
Yeah. Which is a long stretch, by the way, for people in this country, because as they view this whole thing, and because every time you mention Epstein's name and you mention this story, you feel like you have to delouse. I mean, you really do feel it's so sordid and awful that anyone who's attached is like being attached to the old thing, the tar baby. You can't get your hands off it once you've had your hands on it, and that's a real problem. Hey, what do you have coming up this morning on Morning Light at 9:00?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about just the overall reaction to the tsunami and how we respond to global events that may be a continent away, but somehow have a big grip on our heart and steal our joy. The other thing we're going to talk about is a new survey out which says the people who identify as Christians, the majority of them believe their faith is a private matter. And that is a significant shift from even 10 or 15 years ago, where people said, no, the part of my faith is to share the news.
Right.
And people said, no, this is for me, not for you. You do it, you do you, I do me. And we're going to talk about the implications of what that might mean.
Interesting. Looking forward to watching that this morning, 9:00 on Channel 49 right here in our area. Morning Light. It's on Lighthouse TV, and you can check it out. And, of course, you can also watch that later on. Where can people watch that if they miss it this morning at 9? Where can they catch that, Jeff?
Well, it airs twice. It airs also at 2:30 in the afternoon on Channel 49, and then again at 7 o'clock. And then anytime for free, the Lighthouse TV app. Just download it, stream it anytime.
Lighthouse TV app, go get it, and it's free. Jeff, we appreciate you taking us through the news this morning, and looking forward to checking out your program later. Look forward to also talking to you next week, my friend.
I can't wait. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jeff. Take care. Jeff Coleman here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. We'll take a break, and we'll come back with maybe some news you might have missed. We've got Fox Sports coming up, and some more of what Mark is playing today with just different. It's not bump music. It's just a whole lot of different movies and things like that. No bumper music today. I'm suffering, but, so you might be entertained. All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Fox Sports Update.
They have a 2-game lead in the Central, and the Brewers now 21 games above 500 at 64-43.
The Brewers are the hottest team in baseball.
Birdie on the ground is short. Ortiz throws them out, and the Brewers have taken the first 2 games 9-3 tonight against the Cubs. Andrew Vaughn, the grand slam. That was the dagger.
On FanDuel Sports Network Wisconsin, the Brewers won for the 15th time in 18 games and moved 2 ahead of the Cubs for first place in the National League Central, dropping Chicago a half game behind the Dodgers in the overall standings. Cubs players wore new T-shirts before the game to honor Cubs legend Hall of Fame second baseman Ryne Sandberg, who died Monday at age 65 after a battle with cancer. The Cubs T-shirts read Forever 23, with Sandberg's jersey number mixed into the word forever. Commemorative patches also on the Cubs jerseys now, as they will appear for the rest of the season. The patch, a rectangular blue strip with the number 23 in red and Sandberg's signature. while Shohei Ohtani struck out in each of his first 4 plate appearances for the first time in his major league career Tuesday against the Reds. The Dodgers came back from 4-2 down to beat Cincinnati 5-4. The Dodgers a game and a half behind the Brewers for the best record in baseball. The Padres scored 5 runs in the 7th inning and beat the Mets 7-1. Manny Machado had a 3-run home run. San Diego has won 4 games in a row. The Mets' Juan Soto left the game with a bruised foot. He fouled the ball off his foot in the 4th inning. In the Braves' 9-6 loss to the Royals, Atlanta star Ronald Acuna Jr. experienced tightness in his right Achilles tendon. Acuna left the game. He's going on the 10-day injured list. You can download the Fox Sports Podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you download your favorite podcasts. I'm Jared Max.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
And there you have it. But we had a couple things happen around here, speaking of sports, last night. We had a big game, the War of the Roses. First game of a big 3-game series with Lancaster. The Revs trying to stop a 4-game slide, 5 in a row at home. And they went down 4-3. They were down 1-0 first inning, top of the first, and they came back, led 3-1. 4-3 at the top of the second as Lancaster gets 3 runs back. Tied it up 4-4 later on. And it then turned into a pitching duel. And we got a couple of sound bites from last night's game and a couple key moments in the game, and Mark's got that for you right here.
Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. 97. And Nick Michaelonchik blows him away. He strikes out the side after the leadoff triple. And this game is still tied. What a job from Michaelonchik in his second outing with the Revs.
Michaelonchik guy was in the Cleveland system for a while and was let go, and now is playing in the Atlantic League. And this guy, Alexander, leads off the inning with a triple, his second triple of the night, I might add. And so you got a man at third, none out, and you're thinking about, well, how do we just limit this to 1 run? So this Michaelonchik guy bears down, gets the 9th hitter in the lineup, and then they go to the top of the line, this guy, Nick Ward, and Mason Martin. Mason Martin leads the league with 24 home runs and is a rev wrecker, and he strikes out the side, throwing 96 and 97 mile an hour fastballs. Didn't throw anything else, Mark. I mean, just gassed him. And the crowd just went wild when he made that last pitch right there to Mason Martin, who has hit more home runs and stuff against the Revs this year than just about anybody else. So it stayed 4-4 at that point in the game, and then we made it to the bottom of the 9th inning.
And it was a full count, too.
Full count. You got a man on third, Shane Fontana. And at the plate, you have Jeffrey Whaler, the shortstop for the Revs, who's been in this kind of situation a few times during the course of the season. And here's how he responded.
Another 3-2. Swing and a high drive to deep left field. This one is gone! Jeffrey Whaler! A walk-off 2-run home run in the bottom of the 9th inning! The Revs have won it 7-5. He gets the handshake from Rick Forney, who just won his 200th game with the Revs. What a win in front of more than 4,000 here at Wellspan Park tonight.
Yeah, walk-off home run, which you live for. And we were talking about just before he hit it that, he's done this many times during the course of the season. Can we do it one more time? And all of a sudden, whack. And he knocks it over the arch nemesis, the big wall out in left field here at the Wellspan Park. And huge home run last night because it broke a losing streak. Rick Forney got his 200th win. I think he's like 200 and 132 here in his time with the Revs. He's one of the most successful managers in the history of the Atlantic League. He got that last night. And 4,000 people walked out of here pretty darn satisfied with what they saw during the evening. No one was leaving, Mark. Everybody was like sitting there, rapt attention. But it was a great game. And we do it again tonight. We do it again tonight. 6:10 will be on air, Daryl and I. And then at 6:30 is the opening pitch. And, boy, I'll tell you, if it's anything like last night, sit down and buckle in. It's going to be a good series. It really is.
Should be interesting.
So the Revs now 2 games back. I do have some news you might have missed.
Let's do it.
I saw where tarantula mating season is approaching.
Ooh.
Now, the fun fact is the most common place for tarantulas to find sex partners is on the web. on the web. A type of spider, right? Yeah. I know, sorry. People are mixing Miller High Life and Aperol to make a trailer park spritz. Did you hear about this? Not to be confused. Yeah, Trailer Park Spritz. Not to be confused with Trailer Park Hits, which is every song by Kid Rock. So that's the Trailer Park Hits.
That's funny.
Chipotle will celebrate National Avocado Day tomorrow by giving away a free year of A, guacamole, B, refried beans, and C, norovirus. So that's what they're going to be giving away. Yeah. Spirit Airlines. They've been having their problems lately. They're furloughing 270 pilots beginning November 1st. Now, they plan to fill in those gaps by offering discounted tickets to passengers who volunteer to fly the plane.
There you go.
So they've
creative.
They've got something else going on there. Let's see. OpenAI's new ChatGPT agent passed one of those I am not a robot tests. It's kind of scary. It's the strongest evidence that robots can hide among us since Keanu Reeves started acting. So that's what's happening there. Let's see what else. A Canadian man used his fists to fight off an attack by a cougar.
Ooh.
Now, you have another thing coming if you think this will stop Chelsea Handler. I don't know if that's going to be. Kraft unveiled pizza-flavored macaroni and cheese.
Oh, my.
Divorced guys can make it on their own by nixing breakfast. That's what they're doing now, yeah. Let's see. Someone hit Luke Bryan with a ball during a concert in North Dakota.
Oh, no.
Now, this marks the first time anyone in North Dakota has ever had a ball.
That's
you get that idea.
Yeah.
Rolling Stone ranked all 46 Adam Sandler films from worst to best. The result was a 46-way tie for worst. That's what happened, but they added in the Happy Gilmore too.
I agree.
There it is. Hey, when we come back, Tim Barker's going to join us as we examine what the First Amendment's all about. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and he's going to take a look at it from a legal point of view when he joins us at 7:35 here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 7:30.
Jenner's really piling up the points. He sprints through the hurdles for 8:66. He hurls the javelin for 8:62. He's done it! Bruce Jenner set a new world decathlon record.
I spent a good part of my life getting ready for that day. I worked out a lot, ate a lot of Wheaties. Because a complete breakfast with Wheaties is good tasting and good for you.
Take it from Bruce Jenner. Wheaties is the breakfast of champions.
Yeah, it was 49 years ago today on this date, 1976. Bruce Jenner won the decathlon gold medal at the Montreal Olympics.
Things have changed a bit for him since then.
A little.
Yeah, married one of the Kardashians and then decided he would become Caitlyn Jenner.
So do you think do you think they would have allowed Caitlyn Jenner to compete for the decathlon?
Oh, that's a good. Well, it's a different time back then, wasn't it, in '76? And here you are now. Wouldn't that have been interesting? But yeah, not sure he still runs or she still runs decathlons at this particular point. I think not. By the way, this hour being brought to you by your-medicare-solutions.net. Becky and Keith Rill are educating the public, and they are trying to educate everyone on the very best Medicare plans, how it works, your personal options, and what they're really trying to do is give people peace of mind because we all roll into Medicare at some point in time, and it's your-medicare-solutions.net. And you can check them out. They'll find the best plans for you, simple enrollment, how to do it. They'll schedule a consult with Becky or with Keith, and they'll help you to find the Medicare health insurance plan that best meets your needs because there are different needs that you have, from Medicare Advantage plans to Medigap to prescription drugs. They are ready to tell you the whole story. Why don't you give them a call today? It's 717-487-4382. That's Keith and Becky Rill, 717-487-4382. Or you can email them at rill, R-I-L-L, at your-medicare-solutions.net. That's rill, R-I-L-L, at your-medicare-solutions.net. I tell you what, when I talk about people, they're people that I use, services that I use, products that I use. And I'm telling you what, I would not send you there if I didn't think they were the very best in the area. Your-medicare-solutions.net. Or give them a call today at 717-487-4382 and tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. WOYK News Time at 7:37, and we're joined this morning by our District Attorney of York County. He is Tim Barker, who takes time out to be with us on matters of law each and every week. Tim, great to have you in this morning. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, but I thought we might go to a general thing today. You hit a lot of the specific things for York County. But, you know, a lot of people talk about it almost every day without realizing we're talking about it, the First Amendment. And when you talk about the First Amendment to the Constitution, it protects fundamental rights that we use every day related to religion, speech, the press, assembly, and petition. And I thought it might be interesting this morning to get a kind of a general law look at this whole thing about what the First Amendment really talks about. And when you talk about the First Amendment, you really kind of start at the Establishment Clause, don't you? Which really prohibits the government from establishing a state religion or endorsing one religion over others. And yet we seem to have questions come up on this all the time. Your thoughts on that, Tim?
So, it's funny. The First Amendment gets probably talked about more than anything else in the Constitution and probably has some of the most confusing aspects of any area of the Constitution. And I going back even to like law school and hearing discussions and things, we're always back and forth in case law. And when you talk about the Establishment Clause, that's one area that's been very, very, very troubling. And we've seen some of, I don't want to call them full pendulum swings, but we've seen movements in area where it will seem like the court will go one way and say, no, we have to keep further restrictions in to go ahead and stop from there being an establishment of a religion in public institutions, but then realize that they've actually gone too far to now where they're impeding upon free exercise of religion by individuals who are in public institutions. And I kind of look at it this way with my approach. You know from talking with me, I talk about my religious beliefs. I talk about my Christian faith, what that means to me, and what that makes up with my character, my moral fiber, which I think is important for people to know. I'm elected DA, you should know what do they stand for. And, it is something that for many years people became concerned about speaking about if you were in a public official or you were in public capacities because, oh, gee, are we violating something here by showing our faith or by talking about our faith? And the answer is actually no. You're not violating it because you're not establishing how individuals are to go ahead and worship. You're also not telling individuals what religion to adopt, and you're not setting rules that way or adopting a religious practice for other people. You don't give up your faith at the door.
Yeah. One of the areas we talk about this most notably is with schools, where can we have the Ten Commandments in a school? Can we have a religious club at a school, and all those kind of things? We seem to have had an awful lot of that kind of talk with regard to schools over the years, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that's an area that has had some fluid aspects, and you're seeing the Supreme Court sort of doing a little shift back. There was a while starting with, in terms of the school prayer bans, and I used to talk, well, from being in education. Right. And and from the years that you were in education, absolutely the discussions of the impacts of those cases were very, very strong, and we continued to see a push to pull further and further away from ties with religious institutions in schools. We're starting to see a little bit of a pull back from that. Now, not all the way to where it was prior to the school prayer bans, but you're seeing a pull back from that because there's a recognition that it can go too far in terms of the exclusion of any concept of religion being discussed in the school.
So we know that the Establishment Clause, you can't establish a state religion. You mentioned the Free Exercise Clause that protects individuals' rights to practice their religion without government interference. Even for you, it doesn't stop at the door. But freedom of speech and freedom of the press are the next two that are really covered there. And freedom of speech, boy, there is no area that has been talked about more than freedom of speech. And that safeguards the right to express oneself without censorship or restriction by the government. But is it underlined by a sense of you have to have responsible freedom of speech? How far do we go to use the word responsible here?
Sure. And can I just make one quick final comment on the Establishment Clause? Because one of the things that I heard from individuals who are involved in many great faith-based aspects, and our faith-based community is so critical to us accomplishing initiatives with the great grassroots work that all faith-based groups do in working with individuals, that I was actually told by them that their fear of the Establishment Clause has led some groups not to want to work with government and collaborate because they were afraid that they would be violating the First Amendment, that they were precluded from doing so. And I had to explain, no, you're not. We just can't adopt you as the religious group, but you can work with us. You can go ahead and if you're doing great work somewhere, you can collaborate, let us know what you're doing. You can be involved in collaborative approaches. We just don't adopt it. So that's how far that confusion can go. With what you're talking about with free speech, this is an area that, we have the absolute right to free speech until you cross that line where now you are engaging in restricted activity. And where we most commonly see it with criminal law is in the area of threatening activity. And there's been some really great case law movement in this area, further defining it. It probably goes back to restrictions on political speech. Political speech is the most protected kind of speech, but there is a line. And even non-political speech, the lines become the same when you talk about incitement or you talk about threats, and it really focuses on what was the intent for the imminent harm. There's a case with regard to true threats that we're allowed to prohibit and punish criminally in 2023 with Counterman v. Colorado that really continued to refine that you got to have this mental intent. You got to at least have shown a reckless disregard that your words were going ahead and causing the threatening violence, that the receiver of it would believe that you were threatening violence.
Yeah.
And so you have to have those kinds of intents, and and it's all consistent. And that's a big thing about like defamation. We've seen a lot of development that way in the defamation law. So like with New York Times, v. Sullivan was a classic one with defamation, required that you knowingly made the false statement, or you were reckless in making that false statement, essentially coming back to that recklessness aspect. So there are restrictions.
Yeah, it leads us into freedom of the press, and it ensures the media can report news and information without government control. But we're seeing a lot of people now who may disagree, let's say with the president, for example, who are being left off, the media group. Now, where does that go? Freedom of the press. We've had a lot of comments about that, and how far that can go right now, and the state of the press right now in our country.
So freedom of the press, this is a very, very troubling area. A lot of the discussion of how much government interplay had existed in terms of potentially reducing public forums or interacting and influencing what the type of media coverage will be. Now, we've had, it's a long history of if a government can go ahead and can influence media coverage, you wind up, unfortunately, sometimes seeing that occur, but that usually is in terms of, connections, relationships, content, things of that nature. Having a full restriction of trying to go ahead and do away with outlets or intentionally depriving one outlet access versus another, that is where it can go ahead and can cross a line. Now, nothing compels government to speak with a media outlet. You can always say no comment, and quite frankly, there are many times when, the political leaders probably should comment less. And, in my profession, we're governed by ethics. There's certain things we can't talk about. But you can't go ahead and say, you can't put such a chilling effect on that the media cannot go ahead and report. You can't improperly deprive that aspect. Judge Euler used to always talk about, from the bench, about preserving the integrity of the Fourth Estate, as he always liked to put it. And the role of the media has always been so critical in promoting discourse and in educating the public. It's unfortunate when we do see members of the media not follow their own ethics, and that causes problems in a different way.
And we'll have to end at that point this morning. But to be continued. Yeah. I appreciate you taking us through that whole thing this morning. Obviously, we didn't get the right to freedom of to assemble and the right to look for a redress of grievances of government. We'll get to that in another week, but I really love that this morning, Tim. Thank you so much for taking time to kind of delve into that a little bit with this. I think it's important for people to understand where the limits are, what responsibilities we have, and all that kind of thing. Thanks so much, and appreciate you, Tim. Take care.
Yeah, sure thing. Absolutely. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much. Tim Barker, our district attorney in York County here, taking us through a little civics course this morning on what the First Amendment means. And there's so much more to be talked about there, but we like to kind of give you a little civics course now and then and just kind of remind ourselves of what we forgot from years and years ago when we were in history class, right? We'll take a break. We'll come back with more. We've got John Politzopoulos, I think, with us next, if he's not working already this morning, from Yanni's, next here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
James Hoffa is missing. The family of the former Teamsters Union president and ex-convict reported Hoffa missing early today. His car was found outside a restaurant in Bloomfield Township, Michigan, not far from where the family lives. The police were asked whether they thought Hoffa had been kidnapped. Their answer was, well, his car was there and he was not.
Yeah, they never actually did find his body, but it was on this date 50 years ago, 1975. Was the last time he was seen outside that restaurant.
Served a prison term at Lewisburg State Federal Penitentiary right up here in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, and stepped out and, went to this meeting, and so all kinds of stories and myths over the years on where he might have been buried in Giant Stadium,
Yes.
All crazy stuff. But
the
never
Meadowlands.
Yeah, never did find him. The mafia has a way of doing that. They never find you again.
You think it was the mafia?
I do. Yeah, I think he got taken out, but there's been all kinds of conjecture on that. But, and again, that's kind of what makes it an interesting story, because we don't know what the answer is, and all we can do is conjecture based on, a few people who talked here and there, but really didn't talk all that much. So anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to going to eat healthy, when going to eat great food, you cannot do better than Yanni's, and we say gyros, gyros. And we have John Politzopoulos here this morning, who actually has a minute because he's all over the place. He's in Hershey. He's got a store in Hershey there at 121 Town Square. He's in camp up in the Harrisburg area at 391 Union Deposit Road in Harrisburg. He's got a store here in 310 Town Center Drive, which we love to go to on a regular basis. And he's got one new one now right here in York on the east side, over there next to Best Buy at 2815 Concord Road. When do you get to sleep, John? That's the big question.
I'm trying to figure it out, too.
Yeah, so how's everything going with the new store opening up at 2815 Concord Road? Wanted to find out about that.
Everything's going great. All the people on the other side of York are just as amazing as the west side.
There you go. So you get east side, west side, all around the town, but you're offering the same great menu. And I saw where if you go to Yanni's Gyros, YIANNIS GYROS, and I'm saying it the incorrect way, the American way, .com, you could go in there and actually order online at any of the stores wherever you might be. So you got a Yanni's everywhere if you're in Hershey, Harrisburg, or York, right?
That's correct. You can go right online. You could order for pickup right through the website. Gives you the full list of everything on the menu. Or you could order through the links to DoorDash, Grubhub, or Uber Eats.
Yeah. If you go to Hershey Park, guess what? Yanni's is there too. So you're everywhere right now. But the other way you could order too, I know right here at 310 Town Center, you can order by going to 717-885-0710. But as you said, go to DoorDash. I know your menu is printed also at clover.com. That's CLOVER.com. And at all the locations, you're open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. every single day, right?
That's right, 7 days a week.
What is it that makes your place so special, John? Because I talk to people, and they're saying, I just had a guy write to me, he said, Yanni's gyros. He said, yum. And then he had about 15 different exclamation points behind it. What is it that makes your place so special?
It's the fresh ingredients. Nothing is really frozen. All the stuff is brought in, fresh cut that day, and made to order.
One of the things that I love about Yanni's is the family atmosphere, too. You come in there, you're going to get great food, but it's a family atmosphere. You're going to get smiles. You're going to get people who want to sit down and talk to you. They're very clean. All of your places are extremely clean. And the fresh ingredients, as you mentioned, that's a big draw. But that atmosphere, there's something to be said for that.
Well, thank you very much. Once you come through our doors, you're like family.
Well, and speaking of family, there's a pretty good chance you're going to see family somewhere there, whether it's your mom, Maria, or your dad, Chris, or your wife, Amanda, or you, or a whole lot of people who have nothing but smiles on their face for you when you come through. It's a welcoming kind of atmosphere. But, one of the things that I love to do is get the souvlaki. I love to get chicken on a stick, or I love to get the pork on a stick. There's something about freshly grilled pork or chicken that just jumps out, and add a little tzatziki sauce, and I'll tell you what, I'm a happy man for the day, John. Talk a little bit about some of those and maybe some of the other dishes that you can get at Yanni's as well.
Our souvlaki are made to order. All white meat chicken breast or pork made right there on our charcoal, served with pita points and your favorite homemade tzatziki sauce.
But then we also have vegetarian options like our Greek salads, our horgatiki salad, and our falafel, hummus, and a couple different dips.
And the one thing I would be remiss in not mentioning is your fries. Your fries are like boardwalk fries. And when they bring the fries out, they're on a plate. I mean, it's a mound of fries. It's tough to eat them all, so better have someone with you to give a hand on that. But your fries can be made the Greek way as well. Tell people about what the Greek way is in making fries.
The Greek way of French fries is a little bit of salt, pepper, oregano, topped with feta cheese, and, of course, freshly squeezed lemon.
Oh, I'm telling you what, it's fantastic. And, just a home touch, fresh ingredients. You're not going to get a lot of calories in there unless you decide to look at the dessert bar where your mom makes all kinds of great desserts. Tell people a little bit about some of your favorites.
Well, we have a couple desserts like exclusive to our restaurant, which, like you said, my mom bakes. For example, our ekmek, it's shredded phyllo dough, vanilla pudding, like a custard, whipped topping, and toasted almonds. And that one there you probably won't find in too many restaurants anywhere. We also have my mom's famous rice pudding that she makes, along with the baklava and a couple of the Greek cookies.
We took home some baklava and rice pudding the other night. My wife and I were both sitting there in the back room eating those with big smiles on our faces, John. Hey, big thing, remind people about, with all the places where you can go to get to Yanni's and experience Yanni's, of course, right here in New York, 310 Town Center Drive out here on the west side, 2815 Concord Road on the east side. But there's a common place you can go, and just repeat that again, John, so people know where to go, your website, and also a little bit about the Grubhub.
Yep, so our website is yannisgyros.com, YIANNISGYROS. And, of course, if you're ever on one of those third-party delivery apps like DoorDash, Grubhub, or Uber Eats, all you have to do is search Greek food, and we'll pop right up.
John, it's the hottest place in town right now. Mediterranean food, great atmosphere. You're going to love it. Yanni's Gyros, or Yanni's Gyros, if you're saying it the correct way. Always good talking to my friend. Have a great day, and thanks for bringing Yanni's to York.
You as well. Thank you very much. Great talking to you.
John Politzopoulos here on the Gary Sutton Show. Yanni's, a place you can go for lunch today. I go there a lot. I won't be there today, but I tell you what, you can get out there, 310 Town Center Drive here on the west side, or 2815 Concord on the other side. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Steve Shetter and about pests, specifically rats. It's 8 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back? Back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to the main street of York. It's the Gary Sutton Show here on a Wednesday morning at 8:05, July the 30th, 2025. 75 degrees out here on a warm Brooks Robinson Plaza right here at Wellspan Park. And all brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Barley Snyder Law Firm. Innovative legal solutions for your business. They are a law firm for today's business world. Over 130 lawyers in 29 different areas that are ready to help you right now. Check them out at barley.com or give a call when you're here in York, 100 East Market Street. That's Barley Snyder. And you can call them at 717-846-8888. They're open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and they are ready to help you today. I want to thank Your Medicare Solutions for sponsoring our last hour, our 7 o'clock hour. Keith and Becky Rill are just the best in York in terms of getting answers for you, finding the best programs for you when it comes to Medicare. And there are so many things we don't know, like I don't know. Your-Medicare-Solutions.net is the place to go. You can give them a call today and write this down. 717-487-4382. Becky and Keith Rill, R-I-L-L. 717-487-4382 is the number to call. Or you can go to Rill, R-I-L-L, at your-Medicare-Solutions.net. They're your independent agents for Medicare, Advantage, and Supplement Plus, and they are ready to answer your question today. Give them a call, 717-487-4382. Tell them Gary Sutton sent you. This hour, the 8 o'clock hour, being sponsored by TESS. And you say, what's TESS? Total Exterminating Services. Trusted, local, family-oriented. Steve Shetter and his whole family, and the people there are ready to make sure they get rid of the pests. No, not your neighbor. No. There's a lot of pests that get into our home, from mice to rats to insects. And he already helped me this month getting rid of my ant problem. Yeah, he did. And you can give them a call today at 717-951-3868. That's 717-951-3868. Or go to steve.shetter at testpest.com. We'll be talking to him later on in this half hour. But they have residential and commercial pest control, and they have 50 years of experience that Steve has doing this kind of job. So when they come in, they're going to come in and do it right. And there are affordable programs designed for your needs. I enrolled in one of those, and I am very, very happy that Steve is checking on my pest problem on a regular basis. WOYK News Time is 8:07 here, and Mark, we've got some news that we've been following throughout the day.
Well, we're gonna go back in time, because I think I'm always fascinated with history as the days move on, but there are certainly anniversaries that I like to make mention of here if I have a historical perspective, and if you don't learn from history, you may be in some cases doomed to repeat it. Mm-hmm. It was on this date in 1956, so that's 69 years ago, America got its official motto, because up until then,
wow,
I don't think we had one. And here's a little bit more about exactly what happened.
In 1956, the US Congress adopted the phrase "In God We Trust" as the country's official motto, replacing the Latin "E pluribus unum," which means out of many, one. The latter has featured on the Great Seal of the United States since 1776, but the new joint resolution required the new phrase to appear on all American currency. References to similar phrases can be traced back to Francis Scott Key's The Star-Spangled Banner, which closes the final stanza with, "And this be our motto, in God is our trust." However, there is little other reference to the phrase until the Civil War, when the US Treasury claims public religious sentiment witnessed a dramatic increase. Public pressure to include "In God We Trust" began appearing from 1861, when Secretary of the Treasury Salmon P. Chase began to receive letters requesting that newly minted coins should make some reference to God. A capitalized version of the phrase subsequently appeared on newly minted 2-cent pieces from 1864. By the early 20th century, it had become increasingly common for the phrase to appear on coins, but there was no legal requirement to include it on any currency at all. However, the evident anti-religious sentiment of the USSR during the early years of the Cold War prompted the American government to distinguish itself by proving its religious credentials. Consequently, the joint resolution brought before the 84th Congress won unanimous support in both the House and the Senate and was passed without debate. The first printed note to feature "In God We Trust" was the updated $1 silver certificate that entered circulation on the 1st of October, 1957.
There you go. That is History Pod there. Do a good job.
I'm reading a number of different things today, and one of the things in present-day America, we talk about freedom of speech, but there are some senators right now, Devlin Robinson, Senator Vincent Hughes, and Senator Steve Santisero, who are introducing or planning to introduce legislation that would prohibit the use of phones during the school day. Is this something that's needed? We asked that question this morning at Gary Sutton's show at Facebook, and you can go in there and give us your thoughts. But the lawmakers say this is an attempt to combat mental stress and mental health decline in children, which they say is caused by widespread access to smartphones and social media apps. We were talking about the one study this morning where kids under 13 are more prone to suicidal thoughts when they get their cell phone, their smartphone, before they're age 13. Furthermore, they assert this legislation would improve academic performance through distraction-free learning while at school. There are over 24 states right now that have those kind of rules, and Pennsylvania is considering whether or not they want to go in that direction. There's a study recently published at the Journal of Human Development and Capabilities, which found that children who received smartphones before the age of 13 were significantly more likely to experience serious mental health problems. And again, so looking out for kids, is this a good idea or not, in your opinion? And there you go. The other thing the Pennsylvania lawmakers are working on right now, they're proposing to regulate the use of artificial intelligence in healthcare, Mark. The bipartisan legislation is being circulated by State Representative Arvon Venkat from the 30th Legislative District. They happen to be a Democrat, who is also an emergency physician, and others. It aims to provide a legislative and regulatory framework for the application of AI in healthcare in Pennsylvania. And, AI is coming at us so fast that maybe some regulations are needed here. AI is already rapidly expanding across many fields, including the healthcare industry. According to the memo, the legislation aims to ensure its use is beneficial and minimizes negative effects on people when they have to go into healthcare. They say we've seen examples that because artificial intelligence can automate decision-making, that whether it's hospitals or insurance companies or clinicians, they can over-rely on artificial intelligence when the best evidence we have, at least in the clinical setting, is that the combination of an expert physician with artificial intelligence gives the most accurate outcome for individual patients, says Representative Venkat, who also happens to be a doctor. So they're looking for some kind of happy medium between AI and not AI, being human beings.
Speaking of AI, a recent poll asked people, what are you using AI for? And here's what they said.
Most Americans say they use artificial intelligence to search information, but fewer are using it for work, drafting emails, or shopping. Younger adults are most likely to be using it for brainstorming and work tasks. The new findings from an Associated Press Newark Center for Public Affairs research poll shows 60% of Americans overall, 74% of those under the age of 30, use AI to find information at least some of the time. Brainstorming with AI is also divided by age. About 6 in 10 adults under 30 have used AI for coming up with ideas, compared with only 2 in 10 of those age 60 or older. Younger adults also more likely to use AI to come up with ideas at least daily. John Saucier, Fox News.
Mark, I am. I was looking at the York Daily Record. They had a great article in there. During the last 10 days of January, volunteers and staff of the York County Coalition on Homelessness fanned out throughout the county to perform the group's annual census of the homeless. It's called the Point in Time Count. I never heard of it. The Point in Time Count. It's a snapshot of the state of homelessness in the county. It's a requirement of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and to determine federal funding for emergency homeless assistance. Let me ask Julie about that this morning. The York County count revealed that over the past year, homelessness increased by 17%, which is the second highest count in the last 10 years, according to Kelly Plachertis, the coalition's program director. Now, the national census reported an 18% increase in homelessness. So we're right there on those numbers. We're not happy with it, Plachertis said, but it's not surprising. The increase is not surprising because of rising housing costs and the scarcity of safe, affordable housing in the county. The census identified 460 homeless, up from 391 in 2024, and one short of the highest recorded number of 461 in January of 2022, according to the coalition's report. So homelessness is still a problem here in the county, up 17% right now compared to a national increase of 18%.
I didn't know they did that particular survey.
Yes, point in time.
So a lot of serious stuff on the table here. How about something that seems serious but actually was pure entertainment?
Have at it.
Using what was at the time video cameras. Well, I mean, by 1999, it wasn't a new thing, but it was becoming incorporated. This was before it went on your phone. It was becoming incorporated into our culture. And it was on this date in 1999 that a movie came along that kind of used that technology to scare the heck out of us.
Okay.
This is my home, which I am leaving the comforts of for the weekend to explore the Blair Witch.
Yes, she said Blair Witch.
I'm real excited about this. Thank you for the
I'm very
opportunity.
glad.
This area's been haunted by that old woman for years. I don't know why you have to have every conversation on video.
Because we're making a documentary.
Not about us getting lost. We're making a documentary about a witch.
I know.
We're lost. Admit that first.
No, I know we're not lost.
It's all over the place.
So how do we know it was people?
Well, even if it wasn't, I'm not going to play with that either.
And it's all because of me that we're here now. Hungry and cold and hunted. I just want to apologize to Mike's mom and Josh's mom and my mom.
Tell me where you are, Josh!
I'm gonna die out here.
Did you ever see it?
The Blair Witch Trial? Blair Witch Project?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
It's the most disturbing movie I ever saw. And
No
I would never
kidding.
watch it again. I would, you've unveiled something with me this morning. And yeah, I watched this movie.
Kidding.
And there really wasn't anything in it. There's nothing that ever really
There's
came out.
no-
That was it was supposedly done down here in Maryland, not too far from us.
Yes.
But it was disturbing to me. And I of all the movies I've ever seen,
Wow.
The Exorcist and all that kind of stuff with
Yeah.
the crab walk. This one disturbed me more than any. I would never ever watch it again. I absolutely stay away from it.
And I would admit that it was a little disturbing.
Right.
But because I was brought up Roman Catholic,
right.
The Exorcist takes the cake.
Oh, yeah.
I've mentioned
Especially
that
the updated version.
I didn't watch I would never
With
watch
the crab
updated
with the crab walk.
I will tell you that I think it was the second one or the third one that was funny, actually. I mean, James
That's usually
Earl,
what happens. They usually water them down so much.
James Earl Jones, yeah, but the first one used, antiquity and some interesting historical twists, and I can remember I saw it at the Dollar Theater, which means it had been out for like a year. And my friends told me all about it. So I thought, well, I know what's going to happen. And I went to see it and I didn't sleep a wink that night. So,
yeah.
But Blair Witch Project, you were right in that it really all played upon your mind. There were no real special effects.
That was the weird part about it. Going through the trees and the bushes.
Yes.
You're constantly waiting for something to happen.
Yes.
You never get to take a break.
And nothing happens.
And you get to the end and go, what the heck is this? So it wasn't that it was, overtly scary, but it played with your head.
Psychological.
Yeah, it really was bad. So I don't know if anybody else felt the same way. Anyway, maybe Steve Shetter saw it. Maybe that's a scarier thing in the house than pests, but I doubt it. Okay, we're going to come back with Steve Shetter next, who is with TES, Total Exterminating Services. He sent me a video yesterday, and we're going to talk about that video a little bit because you may have that video going on in your home and you don't even know it. He'll tell us about pests and how to take care of them when we come back here on the Gary Sutton Show, where it is 8:19.
Another 3-2. Swing and a high drive to deep left field. This one is gone! Jeffrey Whaler! A walk-off two-run home run in the bottom of the ninth inning! The Revs have won it 7-5! He gets the handshake from Rick Forney, who just won his 200th game with the Revs. What a win in front of more than 4,000 here at Wellspan Park tonight.
Yeah, it was Jeffrey Whaler, tie 4-4, and Jeffrey Whaler unloaded his 13th home run of the season and his 50th and 51st RBIs to get the Revs a big win last night, stopped the 4-game losing streak, which is the longest losing streak in a long time. I think it's been 2 years. And then also get the Revs a win against first place Lancaster last night in what was a truly wonderful game. I mean, it really was. There were so many great dramatic moments, but that was the exclamation point at the end of the sentence as he hit a homer. And just in case you thought you could calm down, we play again tonight. Yeah, 10 after is airtime. Daryl and I will be on the air. And then 6:30 is the beginning of the game, the first pitch. And it should be another classic tonight as these two are getting at it. York leads the War of the Roses series 7-6 right now as they broke that tie last night. But Lancaster's in first place. York was 3 behind. They're now 2 behind here in the second half. And, of course, they've already wrapped up a playoff spot by winning the first half championship. So, I'm still kind of, every time I hear it right now, I get kind of goosebumps. It was really fun. I just put my hands up in the air. The moment it left his bat, you knew they were going to win, even if it hit the wall, because the guy was on third. Shane Fontana was coming home.
Daryl's hesitation is perfect.
He's so good. He is so good, and he called that last night so perfectly. I mean, it really, and he stood up. He stood up as it was going off the bat, and I just put my hands up. But it was the 4,000 people there last night for a Tuesday night. It's a huge crowd here at the stadium, and they all stayed. I mean, everybody was rocking when that happened. And of course, Rick Forney getting his 200th win against only, I think, 132 losses in his time here. One of the most successful managers in the history of the Atlantic League. So there you go. With that, we turn to the guy that takes care of pests. He is our guy. He is Steve Shetter of Total Exterminating Services, trusted, local, family-owned. You can find him at steven.shetter@testpest.com. You can call him at 717-951-3868. You go knock on his door. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. Steve, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Gary. Doing well. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, but and you're going to be at a game here next week, by the way. So I know you love the Rebs, and man, that was a. Whew, I'm still kind of tingly from last night, but it was a lot of fun. But you sent me a email yesterday, speaking about tingly and not with fun, a picture of a rat in someone's room that you guys had taken, and this sucker looked like a small dog. I mean, in someone's, it looked like a study maybe or an office, and he comes walking out from behind like a file cabinet or something. I'm going, are you kidding me? You had to deal with rats. So tell me this morning about our topic on getting rid of pests in your home, a rat. My wife would have one answer. You know what her answer always is? Burn it. Burn the house down.
Yeah.
But you don't do that. You come in and take care of those kind of things. Tell me about that video and tell me a little bit about those kind of pests, because they're the ones that we really, really don't want to see.
Yeah, and yes, my wife's the same way, Gary. I showed her that video, and she had told me that she would be moving out of the house until it was gone. So,
yeah,
we actually haven't been there yet. I'm going tomorrow. The customer had just sent it to me and asked me if I could help him with it. So I'm going to take my lasso and my saddle, and I think I'm going to go in and try and ride that thing out. It was a big rat.
He was he was the biggest rat I've ever seen. But, you know, when you go out to do that kind of thing, you're going to evaluate, and you do free evaluations, by the way, for people. But, you know, this is a pest that people don't want to hear about. Rats and snakes and mice, forget it. We don't want those. Mice, we could kind of put up with. Rats, that's a whole different thing, right?
Yeah, it really is. And rats are very cautious, and it can take some time to get rid of them. But we go out, I'll evaluate the situation, where'd the rat come in from, where's the rat hiding at, and take the appropriate measures to get rid of that. But it's not always a simple process of setting a trap or something along those lines. It can be involved, and it can take a little bit of time.
Are rats pretty smart, Steve?
Yeah, they're really smart, Gary. We always tell customers, mice are curious, rats are very cautious. A mouse, you could put something in their environment, and they're going to check it out right away and say, oh, this is something new. With rats, they see something new in their environment, and they're like, this wasn't here yesterday, I'm not going to go near that. So you could see in the video, the rat comes around the corner from the box and then noticed something wasn't right, and it ran back in to that area very quick. So, yeah, it can be tricky, and every place has everything has its place, but having a rat that size in your house is not the right place to be.
Somebody asked me to ask you the other day, they said, what about, when it comes to rodents? You think about rat poison, things like that, and the effect that it has on your pets you might have in your house. So I know you're always very, very cognizant of that. Tell people what you do to make sure pets are safe.
Oh, it's number one. Children, pets, people, always number one. Safety is always number one. So when I go out and I do an evaluation, I'm asking, do you have pets? Do you have children? Is there any areas that we need to be especially careful of? And we make those notes and then that goes on to the file, so that we're always safety's number one, Gary.
Locally owned and operated. You've been in this business for 50 years, Steve, and 1% of your net profits always go to local charities, which I think is a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's like I say every week, Gary. We love being part of every community we're in. We're in Lancaster, we're in York, we're in Adams County, and we really try and help those communities, the people in need in those communities out, and be a part of those communities.
And you have affordable programs. I'm part of that. I'm doing like a quarterly thing, and I think it's very affordable. And you keep an eye on what's going on and keep checking around the house and stuff like that. I love that. You took care of my ant problem the other week. I haven't seen any since then. No one dares go back. I think they sent signs out to the rest of the ant community that said, test pest is here. Don't come around this place anymore.
Yeah, and those quarterly programs, Gary, for your listeners, that covers 30 to 35 different insects and rodents. So you're always under protection. You need us in between visits. You give us a call. You don't get a bill that day. We send your technician out and get that issue taken care of for you.
And you always say that the people love us, but the pests don't, because they're not going to be around anymore. And there's going to be one less rat around here in the next day or so when you get out to that house. I know that. People can give you a call at 717-951-3868. You can go to Test Pest, and that's .com, Test Pest, TES, for total exterminating services, residential and commercial pest control. And Steve lives here in the community. He takes great pride in knowing that his neighbors are protected, because that's what you've been doing for a long, long time. Final thought this morning, Steve.
If I'm not on the show next week, Gary, the rat won. That would be my final thought.
I have a feeling the rat's not going to be on the show next week, but you will be. Thank you, my friend, for all you're doing to help people. Trusted, local, family-owned. That's what we're all about right here. Steve Shetter, give him a call today at 717-951-3868 and tell him Gary Sutton, a customer, proudly sent you. Thanks so much, my friend. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Gary. Have a good rest of the week.
Steven Shetter here, and Test Pest. You can check them out at testpest, TESPEST.com. When we come back, Julie Wheeler joins us. We got a whole lot to talk to her about, and she's going to tell you about the winners of a contest here in York County. A little bit of a fun thing to add to all the other serious things that are going on, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it's 8:30.
C.S. Truman Library at Independence, Missouri, is the scene of an historic event. President and Mrs. Johnson and Vice President Humphrey arrive for ceremonies that will make the Medicare bill a part of Social Security coverage. Mr. Johnson chose to sign the bill here as a tribute to former President Truman. The former president campaigned for Medicare 20 years ago, but it took 2 decades for his proposal to become law. The new bill expands the 30-year-old Social Security program to provide hospital care, nursing home care, home nursing service, and outpatient treatment for those over 65.
Yeah, it was on this date 60 years ago, 1965, where Medicaid was Medicare, the Social Security part, and Medicaid, both were signed into law.
And of course, we were talking this morning about Your Medicare Solutions with Keith and Becky Rill, and the questions that come up on that, but that all started back then. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it's 8:36 here on a Wednesday morning. And we bring in our President Commissioner of the York County Commissioners, Julie Wheeler, with all kinds of thoughts today. Good morning, Julie. How are you?
I am fantastic, Gary. A little warm, but, that's to be expected. It's pretty hot out there.
Yeah. Now, what do you do to stay cool, Julie? You're cool all the time anyway, but what do you do to stay cool physically?
Drink lots of water, and what I do is when I get really hot, I take a very cold washcloth, put some ice in it, and put it on the back of my neck.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that way you don't become a redneck.
That's right, although I may already be one of those.
I'm sorry. That was just low-hanging fruit. I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
But it's great to have you in today. And I know one of the things that's on your mind right now is the budget. Or the lack of budget in Harrisburg at the moment. Talk a little bit about that. We did mention it a little bit last week, but I wanted to get some further thoughts since we are still kind of in limbo.
Yeah, it's a pressing issue for us. As you know, obviously the budget's not passed, and so the county does get some funding from the state, which we're very grateful for most of our social services program. But when we think about those programs, right, Department of Aging, Department of Drug and Alcohol, the Department of Human Services, millions and millions of dollars that are sitting up at the state that can't be allocated to the counties. The one thing I do want to reassure your listeners in York County, because we are very fiscally responsible, we will be able to sustain county operations for a year to a year and a half without those funds. So that's great from a fiscal management standpoint, but certainly we don't want to deplete our reserve account. So I'm hopeful that folks up there in Harrisburg will be able to come together and resolve some of the outstanding issues.
Last night, you had a little bit of fun. You announced the winner of the second annual I Voted sticker contest. I know this is a fun little thing, but it's kind of important to the people that design these. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, this is our second annual year of the contest. It was a huge success last year, so we thought, well, we'll do it again. And last night we identified Christopher Desare. He is a 5th grade student at Logos Academy. His design was selected among about 200 entries, and we will be printing his stickers out, and whether you vote by mail or vote in person, you'll have the opportunity to get one of his stickers. So just a great way for students to engage early in the process of voting, and also a chance to get them to express their creativity and what they think, voting means to them.
I really like that idea. So I was coming out and getting my stickers, and you had those out this past year in the primary and stuff. I just thought that was really cool. So great idea. And keep on going. It gets kids involved a little bit too, and I think that's anything we can do to get kids civically involved in what's going on is really good. It's kind of a primer to being a citizen someday here in York County. You also got a chance to go to a unique high school graduation, and I do mean unique. Tell us about this one. It was at William Penn.
It was very unique. William Penn High School, there were 16 students that graduated, but one of those students was really special to us in our community. He is a World War II veteran, Bud Pressel Jr. He actually received the Purple Heart 80 years late, but received the Purple Heart earlier this year. So he was not able to complete high school, and so he now officially has a high school diploma from William Penn High School. So a lot of kudos to Dr. Barry and Lisa Kennedy for making this happen for Bud Press. So it was really unique.
And he may be the oldest graduate ever of William Penn High School at
I believe
101.
Yes, and he did, albeit in his walker, he did walk across the stage and get his diploma.
Wow.
So it's really cool to be a part of that.
That is so neat. And, you know, the hair stands up in the back of my neck thinking about that because, you know, the human condition presents all kinds of different detours in our life. Obviously, he was fighting for our country, obviously getting the Purple Heart somewhat late, but at the same time, also then willing to go get his diploma later on, no matter how long it took. That's got to be just a special moment.
Yep, it was.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you also, just, you know, we're in summertime, and, you know, favorite places to travel. I see books all the time about places to travel here in Pennsylvania and places to go to inside and outside of the state. What are some of the places that kind of stand out in your mind as great places to get to, maybe even here in York County?
Well, I was going to go outside of York County, but I'll stay in York County. You know what? In York County, I actually just like to stay at home in my backyard and just relax here at my house. But besides that...
You sound like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz there, for heaven's sake. So the next time I won't have to go any further than my backyard. Yeah, that's exactly.
I do like to visit some of our county parks. As you know, the county has 11 parks, and they're all unique in their own way. But we live in the woods, and now it's a beautiful time of year. You know, leaves on the tree, and I enjoy sitting at home.
Well, that's really nice. So what areas do you go to outside of York County when you want to kind of get away a little bit, and right here in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, my favorite place is Bedford Springs, out in Bedford, Pennsylvania. I really enjoy that community. It's one of our older communities in the state, but easy weekend drive, and Michael and I both like that place. There's a nice golf course there at the Bedford Resort. There's also a nice spa, so we go do our things during the day, and then we regroup in the evening, and just a really nice laid-back environment out there.
And there are a few people that enjoy golf more than your husband, Michael. He is just,
yeah, probably you.
Well, he's great to play golf with. He really is. He's a left-hander. That's the only thing he got it wrong. But and he loves Buffalo and NFL football. Outside of those two things, you know, he's a great guy to be with, and a lot of fun. And he networks a lot when he plays in the golf course. But someone told me the other day he played and he had like 3 birdies in his group. So I was staying up with that. I wanted to ask you a little bit very quickly. We saw a thing this morning about 17% increase in homelessness here in York County, 18% nationally. And it talked about, you know, the price of housing and all those kind of things. I know you haven't delved into all that right now just yet, but I just wanted to kind of get a general comment this morning on this whole idea of homelessness, because I know it's a concern that you and all county residents have when you see these numbers rising.
Yeah, certainly it is. It is a big concern. You know, 426 individuals, and while to the average person listening, you may think, well, that's no big deal. It's only 426, and we have 456,000 people that live in York County. However, if you're one of those 426 people who have to worry about a place to sleep, especially on days like today when it's very hot, you know, that's a significant life-changing moment for those individuals. So we're certainly very concerned about the increase in number, but very thankful that we have people like Kelly Fletcher Task leading the Coalition for Homelessness, who really works across community stakeholder groups to ensure that we've got programs in place, especially this time of year, that folks can get some respite and get, you know, inside in the cool air and at least have a meal. So we're going to do some more digging into specifically those increases. But you did mention one of the big ones is housing, right? And certainly not just unique to York County, but, you know, housing crisis across many counties in the Commonwealth and the nation.
And finally, a good news story for the day. I know you work closely with the people in the 911 dispatchers and the 911 center here. And oftentimes we say, yeah, the 911 center, and then we kind of just move on. And I read an article today about a York
Cheyenne,
York County dispatcher who saved the life of someone on something that wasn't even really known about or taught for these people who get on the phone with you. Marissa Shoemaker, who communicates with callers while dispatchers send first responders. And she got on the phone with a lady about a husband who was having a heart attack. And he was on his back. He was stuck, I guess, inside the bathroom there. She couldn't quite get him. He wasn't on his back. They wanted to get him onto his back. And she was trying to take him through CPR. Well, she looked up another way of doing CPR that you could do through your back and talk the wife through that. And the American Red Cross said in a statement that some prone CPR is uncommon and is not routinely taught in the organization's courses. But this girl talked this lady through and probably saved her husband's life in the long run. Talk about that.
Sure, we're certainly proud of our telecommunicator. So it was a little bit of a tag team, Marissa and Cheyenne. Cheyenne was actually the one on the phone speaking to the spouse. And I have to commend Cheyenne. She'd only been on the job 6 months, so just held her cool, stayed calm, worked with Marissa. Yes, very unique experience for both of those telecommunicators. But like you said, they talked the wife through, saved his life. And it was really unique. A couple months ago, thanks to Redline Ambulance, they organized a meeting between Cheyenne and the husband and wife. So it was really interesting to connect those two. A lot of times no one ever gets to meet the person on the phone at 911. So it was great for that opportunity to connect Cheyenne with the family that she worked with.
Yeah, I guess they looked up this method that had not been taught in CPR, and they went through it with this wife who was pretty much hysterical to start with, and then got her focused, said things are going to be okay, and helped her to go do back CPR.
Back CPR.
Yeah, unbelievable. So it's nice to know some of the local heroes and put the names out there. And as you said, you got, I think, Danielle Peckney and the other one, or Cheyenne Peckney, excuse me.
That's okay.
And the other girl is named Melissa Shoemaker. Am I correct on that?
You're correct.
There you go.
Yep.
Two heroes here in York County.
Two heroes right in York County.
Wow.
Yep.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to talking to you again next week, Julie.
Thanks, Gary. Stay cool.
You too.
Okay.
Take care. Julie Wheeler, our President Commissioner of the York County Commissioners, right here on the Gary Sutton Show on a Wednesday morning. We'll take a break. We'll come back with some final comments, some final thoughts, all here on the Gary Sutton Show, the main street of York, and proud of it, all here on WOYK.
Emergency. Batman speaking. Warning all of you to brace yourselves for big news.
The biggest.
Tell them, Robin.
Holy superlatives, Batman. It's really exciting. Soon, very soon, Batman and I will be batapulting right out of your TV sets and onto your theater screens.
That's right, Robin. Our first full-length motion picture feature in color opens a whole new world of thrills. The big screen gives us more space on land, sea, and in the air to challenge the most bataclysmic collection of super criminals that ever plotted to take over the world.
Number one,
the
Riddler.
Yeah.
Question. Who's going to make the feathers fly
His laugh
and
was
knock
great.
Batman and Robin out of the sky? Number two.
Frank
The
Ocean
Joker.
is the Riddler.
Have you heard this one?
Caesar
It'll
Romero
kill
is the
you,
Joker.
Batman.
Yeah.
Number three. The Penguin.
There are two eggs.
Burgess
This wily
Burgess
bird
Meredith.
is going to scramble. Batman and Robin.
Who also was Rocky's trainer, by the way.
Number four. The Catwoman.
Yeah. Lee Merriweather.
You're going to see the purr
And
of
later
the
on,
crime when I get
Julie Newmar.
Batman in my claws.
And that's just a sample of the exciting exploits
there you go.
ahead.
So-
It was on this date, 1966, the first Batman movie, live action.
Phenomenon.
Yes, it was Adam West and Burt Ward.
Yeah.
I stood in line in Woodbridge, Virginia. I asked my mother if she would take me, and she said, sure.
Yeah. Did she regret that?
You know, I probably, if you know what, when we leave here today, I'll call her.
Yes.
And I'll ask her if she remembers that.
There you go.
And I'm willing to bet no.
Well, you know, age, we were talking about age here, and the guy graduating from York High at 101. Age is no barrier. As a golf lover, sinks a miracle hole-in-one on his 90th birthday.
No
It was his
kidding.
90th birthday. It was a retiree.
Wow.
He sinks the golf shot, calls it magic while celebrating a long, healthy life. The guy's name is John Payne, who said he's been playing golf for 3 decades, achieved the feat on July 18th at a local golf course in the UK. The longtime player nailed the shot on the 6th hole, which is a 200-yard par 3. 200 yards.
200 yards?
Yeah, and this guy's 90 years old.
See, it must have been one of those links courses, maybe.
Well, I don't know, but he's dealing with deteriorating eyesight. He said, I didn't realize it had gone in. He told the news agency SWNS, it's 200 yards from the tee to the hole. I never imagined I'd get it in one. Payne said he hit the ball using his driver and watched as it struck the downslope of a bunker before rolling straight into the cup. He said, when I was told I'd hit the perfect shot, it felt magic. He said, it's a once-in-a-lifetime shot. Payne had been playing that same course for 30 years without ever scoring an ace, SWNS reported. Some people had never had one in their whole life, and I can see why. He said, I've been playing for 30 years and only just got one now. It's a miracle because it is very, very difficult. Given his poor eyesight, Payne didn't see the ball drop himself. He said, you play with other people and their eyesight is much better than mine, he said. They gave me a running commentary as the ball landed. He took up golf in his 60s after retiring from a management career. So he hasn't really played his whole life or anything like that, but he has a handicap of about 26, which means he shoots about 26 over par on a regular basis.
So I will just tell you that I haven't really come that close very often, but every once in a while when I hit on a par 3, I hit the drive, and I will watch it. I'll say, you know what, it's going in.
Yeah.
If it looks like it's going to be on the green or, you know, maybe rolling that way. So
yeah,
it's never happened.
There you go. I've had 2, and I had to wait 47 years to get my first one. 47 years of playing, and I got on the second hole at Royal Manchester. And then the other one I got last year, a year ago this past January, on the 13th hole at Grandview Golf Course.
Cool.
So I've had 2. It is a thrill. The one I had that I'm really proud of more than that was a, what's it called? The 2 on a par 5. And the word is, it starts with an L.
Oh, it's the Albatross?
Albatross. Starts with an A, yeah. Albatross. I hit a driver 230 yards and went in the hole for a 2. And it was like early November when I was playing. I was playing with a bunch of my friends.
Hard, maybe?
Well, no. I mean, I hit it good
Mm-hmm.
and only had about 230 yards. That's not that far for me to hit that driver. But there was stuff all over the green. There were leaves, and there was bark, and everything else.
Right.
And this friend of mine, who has the eyesight of like a 2-year-old, said it's in. I said, you can't see that from here. He said, no, I'm telling you, it's in. And we drive down there, and one of the members of our group, other than him, walked over to the hole and said, whoa, I'm not pulling that out. And we walked over, and there's the ball in the hole.
Wow,
a
good
2,
for you.
which is even harder to do, I think, than a hole in one. But they have plaques up for holes in one in my golf course, but they don't have one up for a 2 on a par 5.
Right.
Which I could just now barely talk about.
The best I ever did was an eagle.
Yeah.
And that was by accident. And, I didn't intend for it to go in.
Right.
And it just happened once. So, and it was a couple
But you know
years.
what? That's it happened once.
It happened once, yeah, which means, if you hit enough shots, anything can happen.
There's probably a story there at some point in time, you see.
So do you worry about what's in your food and the products that you use?
I certainly do.
Like plastics and chemicals and
Yes.
things. Well, there is a kind of, not really a warning, but consumers be aware.
Advocates say American consumers are now looking to apps to evaluate these products, tell them what's in them. A co-founder for an app called Yuka says the United States is now the top country represented among their users. In 2022, Congress and then President Biden gave the FDA more authority to expand its regulation of cosmetics. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has prioritized targeting artificial colors in foods. FDA Commissioner Marty McCary told Fox News that the government has generally been regulating too much, but that the department is doing an inventory of chemicals, especially in the food supply, to make products safer.
You got to keep an eye out for that. And there is a new opioid that is producing a warning for consumers. Check this out.
FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary says he's gone to vape stores himself to see what is essentially an opioid casually being sold.
I've been surprised at the candies and gummies and drinks and ice cream cones. Here's one drink with 7-OH in it. Do we understand what 7-OH is at public health scale?
He explains it's a byproduct of kratom, which is a leaf, but in this case, a synthetic version is what's being put in products.
Yeah, be watching out for that 7-OH.
There you go.
But anyway, we're done.
This hour has been brought to you by Tess. That's Total Exterminating Services. They take care of pests in your home, trusted, local, family-owned. Give them a call. Steve Shetter at 717-951-3868. I am a client, so tell them I sent you. Steven.Shetter at testpest.com. The proud sponsors of this hour, the 8 o'clock hour, right here on the Gary Sutton Show. Coming up tomorrow, Jamie Norpel will join me as an apprentice, and she is going to become a host here one of these days on our show to step in for me. But until then, have a great time. Listen to the Revs tonight, 6:10. I'm Gary Sutton. It is 9 o'clock.